Today we demonstrated on a double dug lasagna bed here at Tolani Lake Enterprise in Tolani Lake, Arizona. And our other instructor, Philecia, she demonstrated on a raised bed, which she put inside their hoop house.
So right now we're going to be assembling raised bed. So your materials that you would need for a raised bed would be 2x6 or 2x4s, whatever you could provide, and cardboard boxes, straw bales, and you could do compost and water and H manure. So what we're doing is we're starting our layer of boxes, and so what boxes have is carbon, and you could use cardboard boxes, leaves, or any brown material. Boxes have carbon, and then it can also help with weeding as well. So you have weeds underneath and it will control your weeds. And so next one will be straw bale.
We'll use this one for now.
So it's good to use H manure because if you use the one that is not H, it will burn your plants. So this will over time decompose by itself. So all these different organic matters, they work together, and so they help each other and get their nutrients from there. So this is like you could still see the straw bale, so I would put a little bit more in here. And for the lasagna bed, you could use the peat moss and mix it with the perlite, or you could just use the regular sand. So you could use that. Either that or cinder sand. Cinder sand works the same as perlite. So I am going to plant kale. So the kale would be about 2 feet apart to plant them. They get pretty big. And so kale is a cool weather plant, meaning that they like to be in cool weather. So I'm putting lettuce. And so for each plant, they have a companion planting. So brassicas, they go together. They're buddies. And so there's certain plants that don't like each other. From my personal experience is the water. It keeps the moisture inside the bed. And the soil, it kind of just squishes everything together, and it just, the water doesn't run off, and the soil, especially in here, doesn't really blow all over the place. And it just keeps everything compact. And that is a raised bed.
What we usually do is when we make a lasagna bed, we make one row and then we go over and we make another row, just like on that side. And this first pile, if we're gonna use at least 2 lasagna beds, we'll put this pile here. So we just measured out 3 feet, and it's gonna be by 10 feet. And this is a pretty small size lasagna bed. And usually when you work in soil, You don't want it to be too wet or too dry, but it's already pretty broken up. So our first layer will be the cardboard, and any kind of cardboard is pretty good as long as it's brown. And it doesn't have to be cardboard. If you have newspaper, I've also used newspaper. I took a big old stack of newspaper and I just layered it down there. That was my base layer. And the reason why we use cardboard again is cover up the weeds that are right under here, because perennial weeds, their roots are pretty deep and they can actually come up through here. So this will be like a protective layer also. And over time it'll break down by itself. So that's our first layer. And the next layer, it can either be straw or manure. So we'll go ahead and put some manure in there. And this is just aged sheep manure. We just do a good layer of compost. That's good. Next we'll throw down the straw. We're going to put the straw down, which is another carbon layer. So we got our cardboard, carbon, we put our nitrogen, then we put another carbon layer. And the straw helps aerate the soil. So if you had hard pan soil, that's going to aerate the soil. You need air and some water in order for your roots to take off pretty good. So now we got a base layer. It's pretty much even to the soil right here. And now we just measure again. Now we take this next topsoil and we're gonna throw it back over here. If you have the mycorrhizae or any kind of soil amendments too, if you want to go ahead and throw them on there, you can. You can also put another layer of compost on top if you'd like, or food scraps or whatever. But these are the three main ingredients that we use. Reuse cardboard, you know, somebody with sheep manure or horse manure, chicken manure, and then the only thing you might need to buy is the straw. And then we'll take this pile, once we fill it back in, we'll use this topsoil and put it back here. And then once we finish here, we're gonna put the straw, the carbon, the boxes, the manure in here, and then we'll take this topsoil and put it up on top of there. And that's how we rotate the soils. Once we get, say we have another bed over here, we take this soil and then we put it on top of there. And then we work our way back down that way. We take this soil, there, there, there. Then that first original soil, that's what we put on this side. It'll break down slowly, so maybe in 3 years. But it starts out pretty high, and then over time, everything's gonna decompose, turn into healthy soil for the plants above, and then it'll just go back into the earth. The last thing we're gonna put on is the mulch. And once we wet this soil down, we'll put the mulch to help contain this moisture. Because if we leave it bare and water it down, it's just gonna fry it. And we don't wanna do that. Where do you go? Yeah. Now go ahead and just moisturize this one. So even though this is going to blow off, it'll slowly blow off, but it's protecting the actual soil. It goes by pretty quick if you have all the material ready. So that's pretty much it for this lasagna bed.